Hello friends, I am Dr. Meera, a psychologist, wellness trainer and a life coach. This is our third video based on dermatoglyphics. Today we are going to look at the finger patterns, that is, which determines personality. ഇന്ന് നമ്മൾ കാണാൻ പോകുന്നത് dermatoglyphics ബേസ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ള സയൻസിന്റെ finger patterns ആണ്. It's a beautiful process of understanding patterns because patterns are our personality determined. So, what is your inborn personality is completely unique and is dependent on the patterns are our fingertips. It's so magical, isn't it? So, let's look at what are the different patterns that happens on each person's finger as a part of genetics and oral pattern in their personality in the So first let's look at what are the different types of patterns. Are different types of patterns and different types of personalities in them. So there are numerous patterns and combinations of patterns. So we cannot number it because there are so many. But basically we have three dominant patterns that we look at differentiating from each other, and oral type of pattern, then there are sub-patterns and different types of those patterns. So let's look at the finger patterns of human beings based on dermatoglyphics. That's the topic for the day. Finger patterns, three types we classify. One is the word type, second is the loop type, and third is the arc type of finger pattern. So there are three types of finger patterns. Basically, fundamentally, three types are the word category, the loop category, and the arc category. This is the dominant type of pattern, the word category pattern. So, in the word type, which is the first type of pattern, this pattern they have a very dominant personality. Generally, either word pattern or dominant personality. That is, they are born leaders. Under the word category, there are three types of words. So let's look at the different types of words. I'll just name them. We have the target word, the spiral word, the elongated word, the imploding word, the peacock word, the double loop word, and the accidental word. So, word category pattern is the first type of finger pattern. This pattern is considered to be the most dominant pattern, and it is the personality of this pattern can be considered to be as like the eagle pattern. Disc bird profile, which the word pattern is normally the eagle tendency. So, the eagles are the king of birds. So, now we associate the category when we use the disc profile to understand the word pattern. So word people are normally very goal oriented, very target oriented, very competitive, and a dominant personality. But different types of words, there are small variations. So among the different types of words, the most dominant pattern is the target word. Mostly target word pattern they have very high leadership, very competitive leadership, authoritative leadership. That is, they'll bring in a lot of authority, and they will be more of dictators, autocrats, all come under this category. But not that all words have to be like that, especially when it comes in the thumb. But thumb word, yes, the leadership will be highly dominant, aggressive, very goal-oriented and competitive, and do not give space for emotions. So target word people are very, very goal-oriented people, and they do very well in life. Career field, they normally do very well in life because they always have to win. So the word pattern people are normally the most dominant personalities. They can handle all types of personalities because they do not give so much importance to emotions, but they are not that they are not emotional, but that they are more goal focused or more target focused. Now, a career fielder, they normally do extremely well. Where they may find a problem is normally in relationships because they are this dominant, bossy type leaders. So that's the word pattern. We are not looking into the intricate differences between different words, but generally to understand what is the word and who is the word personality. The second most important pattern is the loop, L-O-O-P, the loop pattern. The loop pattern people, there is the ulnar loop and the radial loop. So generally loop pattern people have two very different characteristics, but they are a little bit of the softer personality. Pratecha ulnar loop people, we call them as the doves under the disc profile. The doves are peace loving, harmonizing, very friendly, trustworthy, very honest type. So generally they are very soft people, timid people, shy people. They make good friends and they are very humble. People like to be with them. So it is the most lovable personality. So generally ulnar loops are the most common personalities seen in most human beings. മിക്ക ആൾക്കാർക്കും ഇത് ഒരെണ്ണമെങ്കിലും ഉണ്ടാവും. ഒരെണ്ണം പോലും ഇല്ലാത്തവരാണെങ്കിൽ they can be very difficult and blunt and very curt and emotion കാണിക്കാത്ത വ്യക്തികളായിരിക്കും. Especially word pattern ആൾക്കാർ 100% word ആണെങ്കിൽ you may find it difficult to associate or to have a good relationship with only word people. But if there is a mix of word and ulnar loops, word pattern and ulnar loop pattern, then yes, there is always a balance in the personality. So word people are like the eagles, very, very dominant, aggressive people, whereas the ulnar loop people are the most affectionate, very giving tendency, very humble and very friendly, trustworthy, honest, standing for justice and truth, always fighting for the truth. They give in a lot, they sacrifice, they tolerate people, they like to see people happy. So that's the loop pattern. Radial loop is again similar to the loop pattern, only that they are more creative and they may go slightly against the tradition and they may stand for different creativity. That is differences. They look at more differences than allowing traditional things to move on. So radial loop people are the loop pattern, but then they have small characteristics which are slightly different from the ulnar loop. The third pattern is actually the arc pattern. This is a pattern. It's a rare pattern actually. 6% population of the world only will have arc. So it's a rare pattern. Mostly we are a combination of different types of words and loops. And ulnar loop is much more common than radial loop. Radial loop is also slightly uncommon. Otherwise, arc is even more uncommon. Not many people have the arc category. In arc personality, the arc personality, the bird profile which you know, it is the owl personality, movement personality. So arc people are the most simple people, simple, very open, frank, simple people. Normally they will have a slight fear and insecurity within them. They are people who are very methodical, systematic and logical, and they love math because they normally go by a step-by-step process of learning. But perfectionists are. They like perfection and they like to do things slowly and steadily and do it with perfection. Perfection are pattern personalities. And because of that, they are slow. They are very detail oriented. Perfect arc people normally do not do very complicated things. They like to do simple things and they like to do that excellently well. So arc people have a very different personality and normally they will always be looking at pros and cons, very analytical minded, very logical minded. They don't like too much of creativity or they don't like too much of differences, too much of environment changes on that. Arc people can get very disturbed. So yes, it's a rare pattern, but people who have arc also need to be a little careful because they have this personality that will not go along with all personalities very easily because they have a mindset of their own. They don't like complications and complexities. But simple step-by-step process. Perfection. So perfectionists they will not be okay with others who are not perfectionists at all. They may have a challenge in relationship again. Ulnar people, by the way, are wonderful in relationships. They are the psychologists, counselors, teachers, all the categories that socialize and have interpersonal skills that come under the ulnar category. The word people are the most dominant leaders, the top leaders, top management leaders, decision makers, the visionaries, mostly come under the world category. And the arc people are the conventional mechanical people where they can do any job continuously and perfectly well, and they are the perfectionists. They are detail oriented and do tasks which are more conventional, which are more objective driven. So the basic differences between world, loop and arc. Worlds normally are the great leaders, dominant leaders, the visionaries. The loops are normally the friendly people, the socializing people, the teachers, administrators, the psychologists, counselors, etc. And they're also good leaders, but they love people and they're the most people-oriented personality characteristics. The arc people are those who are logical, analytical thinkers, mathematical, perfectionists, people who do not like complexity, so they will not normally take leadership very easily. Arc personality normally after high leadership, but they can go below, just below the leader. They may do all the tasks. They may be wonderful secretaries. So they are more concept driven, conventional, technical. Whereas the loop and the world are normally the objective driven people, whereas the arc people are the more concept driven people. So one task you give them, they will do that continuously. They don't get bored. Whereas the ulnar loops or the radial loops and the world people cannot do the same thing all the time. They always need creativity and they like doing things differently. The beauty of personalities based on dermatoglyphics is in more personality so that's the magical experience of knowing who you are in terms of your personality when it comes to finger patterns. Namukku word personality undavam, ulnar loop undavam, radial loop undavam, chelpa oru 10% arc undavam because you have 10 fingers. Each finger may have a different pattern. So I have seen people who have all the patterns, or patterns mix and match but that is the complexity of who you are. So a human being's complexity is it's so diverse that finger patterns everyone adinte personality different because if you have a word pattern on your thumb, then it is you're a true leader. A word pattern can come anywhere. Leadership management it will be on the thumb. Then yes, your leadership will be the world category. But your ulnar loop you can also be on the thumb. Our Gandhian leadership. So that is the permutation, combination and the complexity of a human being's personality. So beautifully we can have an insight into who we are in terms of our personality. When we analyze each finger, the complexity is that there is a pattern which determines personality. But our pattern, the finger a pattern visual lobe like occipital lobe our creative side if the arc pattern everyana area arc personality so it can be in the sound lobe, it can be in the body lobe, it can be in the index lobe which determines logical thinking. Every patterns അപ്പോൾ ഏത് ലോബിലാണോ ഈ പാറ്റേൺ വരുന്നത് ആ പാറ്റേൺ അതനുസരിച്ചിട്ടുള്ള പേഴ്സണാലിറ്റി അവിടെ ആ ഒരു ടാസ്കിന് കാണിക്കും. ലൈക്ക് ഇഫ് ഇറ്റ് ഇസ് മ്യൂസിക് ലോബിലാണ് നമുക്ക് അൽനാർ വരണമെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ഇഫ് ദ ലൂപ്പ് പാറ്റേൺ ഇസ് കമ്മിങ് ഇൻ ദ മ്യൂസിക് ലോബ് then yes you like more romantic music, more melodies. പക്ഷേ വേൾഡ് പാറ്റേൺ ആണ് മ്യൂസിക് ലോബിൽ വരണമെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ then you will like more rap, fast songs, very hard sounds. And not like very soft sounds. So to that level we can realize who we are and we can understand our tendencies. നമ്മുടെ ഈ ഒരു natural nature connected ആയിട്ടുള്ള tendencies നമ്മുടെ personality ആയിട്ട് വളരെയധികം ബന്ധമുണ്ട്. And നമ്മൾ ഒരു personality അല്ല, നമുക്ക് എപ്പോഴും രണ്ടോ മൂന്നോ personality definitely കാണിക്കും. വളരെ rare ആയിട്ടാണ് നമുക്ക് 100% girl അല്ലെങ്കിൽ 100% ആൾക്കാർക്ക് വരുന്നത്. That is very very rare. But yes, those who have 100% world, അതിന്റെ advantage ഉണ്ടാവും, അതിന്റെ definitely അതിന്റെ disadvantages ഉണ്ടാവും. Because ബാക്കിയുള്ള കുറച്ച് personalities acquire ചെയ്യേണ്ടി വരും. Only then you can see a balance. 100% world person may not be very balanced in life unless they acquire people-oriented traits and they acquire a little bit of detail-oriented work. So with this, I hope all of you have understood at least what are the different types of finger patterns and what is that personality that is determined by ഈ 3 patterns, and what is the basic permutation combination and the complexity of knowing this from the space of dermatographics. Thank you and have a great day.